Hello, my name is Alexandra. Retention in the sciences is a major problem in higher education. Here at UC Santa Cruz, we found that when students enter, there's no statistically significant difference between race, gender, or ethnicity amongst those who are interested in pursuing a science major. However, after 5 years, as we see in this graph of students who are admitted as ecology and evolutionary biology majors, the proportion of underrepresented minorities in the major drops from 1/3 to 1/5 by the time of graduation. This retention gap is partly due to students changing to other majors or not graduating and leaving the university. There's been a lot of research exploring what factors may help with retention in the sciences. Factors like self-efficacy or confidence in one's ability to perform a task, sense of belonging, or seeing oneself as a scientist have all been found to be important. So, what are universities doing to support these in students who might be and are leaving science? One program, offered by Camino, an organization at UC Santa Cruz intended to help retain students in the sciences, is a paid field-based summer research internship. I recently conducted interviews with half of the summer 2019 participants, students who would traditionally be marginalized in the sciences, and they're all pursuing science careers or graduate programs, and many of them completed senior theses on the projects they began last summer. In short, these internships are working and retaining students. So our question is, what experiences in these internships retain students in science? To explore this question, we use the theoretical framework of communities of practice. Communities of practice are groups of people who share a concern or passion for something they do and learn how to do it better as they interact regularly. Community of practice is an important framework for thinking about how one might build a sense of identity and belonging in the sciences. As students become recognized by themselves and other in the community of practice, like a research lab, their sense of being a scientist is changing as we see identity, knowing, and social membership entail one another. So most of our participants are from groups that we often disproportionately lose in the scientist. The internship took place for 8 to 11 weeks, and most of them contain both field and lab components. I focused on qualitative data sources to understand the student experience. Each participant kept a reflective journal and completed pre-post surveys, and I conducted semi-structured interviews after the internship with them and 6 months post. The data was coded using inductive and deductive approaches and deduce. So what did we find? A dimension of the experience that was important to many interns were opportunities to learn together with their mentor and other members of the lab. For instance, an intern who worked in a disease ecology lab said this: "That's what I thought was really nice, because I came in thinking maybe they knew everything. And it turns out that my mentor was actually performing a lot of this her first time too. So I was like, oh, we're really in the beginning of this. This captures that excitement of finding things out together, which may be different from what they might have experienced in the classroom. A feeling like this intern mentions, that scientists already know everything, and their job as students is to learn it too, which can cause students to lose sight of the exciting parts of science, like shared discovery. This shared learning experience on a symmetrical plane with the mentor not only can increase students' sense of self-efficacy in doing science, but seeing themselves as scientists. Recognition by others and self as a contributor was also an important component for sense of community and self-efficacy. We can see an increase in self-efficacy that happened for one student who worked in the tide pools. Starting 3, he states, "It was so frustrating to be out there and be like, oh, you guys brought me, you picked me, and I don't feel like I'm adding something." To 6 weeks later, in week 9, in his final trip, he says he felt prepared and useful. By seeing himself as a contributor, it greatly impacted his confidence in his role. Experiences that connected interns personally to their future in science were also important. A student that worked studying Sierra Nevada songbirds said this: "I stepped away from the summer as a more competent ecologist, and it put things in perspective. I don't necessarily like going to lecture, but all that stuff that we learn in class can be directly applied right to our outdoor experiences, and it just made me more stoked on school." This connection to her future in science, her future classes, her ability as an ecologist were really important, and in fact, It led to her getting a job this summer doing similar research. So our next steps are working creatively as a community of educators and scientists to find ways to take these types of experiences and integrate them into the science experience for all students at UCSC. Thank you.